Good evening and welcome to Waking God's Child YouTube channel. I'm here tonight with my co-host Candy Nelson and Eric the Watcher.
Hello.
Tonight we are coming to you live and we are trying to actually reach out to Richard Bruce. Richard Bruce, if you're watching, listening, or somebody that knows Richard Bruce, can you please point him in our direction? We are wanting to get in touch with you. We have lots to discuss with you and lots of things that I think you would relate to and would also like to have you on podcast. Did I say that right, guys?
Well,
Yeah.
that was a nice, perfect summary of our intent here.
Okay.
I first discovered Richard Bruce not that long ago, maybe like 3 or 4 months ago.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and
Yeah.
just the coolest guy ever.
Yeah.
Since the first time finding him on YouTube, I'm like, I want to buy this guy a steak. I just want to hang out with this guy.
Yeah.
We would be having so much fun. Um, how long
Totally.
how long have you known about him?
So he was one of the very first when I came down with or was awoke to, not to be mistaken with woke, but awakened to everything. Morgellons was kind of put aside for me. I immediately, because I started seeing supernatural, right? So I get online and I'm immediately looking because I have these black helicopters flying over me constantly. First, second, third, maybe a coincidence, but then it became nonstop, like nonstop, nonstop. So when I got online, I'm thinking the only way to find out is anyone else experiencing this. This was back in 2018 is when I came across Richard Bruce, and I have been a
Okay.
subscriber of his channel ever since then. Um, I've tried to reach out, but I mean, I hope you're listening, Richard, because we love you. Obviously, I'm just like you. I think all of us here are, and I think we could do some great things, all of us together. So that's what I think.
Yeah.
What about you, Candy? What do you think?
Well, like I said, I'd never heard of him before, but I have enough stories. I've shared many of them with Lisa before about different things that happened to me in my life, and seeing angels and demons and having visions and out of body experiences and angels. Like I said, I've seen angels in the flesh and I've seen demons in the flesh, and
Yeah.
there was times it's like I'd be in the store and stuff, and it's like, oh man, this most rancid evil smell would come over, and I'd turn around and look behind me, and it's like a demon in the flesh, and I was like, what in the heck? And you
Yeah.
could just feel all that negative energy, and then looking at you like they just want to, like,
Yeah.
just rip your heart out right there and just eat it. I'm like, God, scared the hell out of me, but it's like, wow.
Yeah, the smell thing is real. A couple times I've smelled flowers. And I don't know, is that like a good thing in the opposite direction? Is there like is there like the really bad smell for the demonic entities, and then is there like a good smell for the good side?
Yes, there is, for sure. Yep. Crazy
Sorry,
stuff.
guys. Hold on a second. Technical difficulties, because that's what I'm notorious for.
Yeah, because
Sorry.
I've actually experienced both. And, like I said, I mean, in the store, not, somebody being behind me and I just turn around, they're just like glaring right through me, almost, you could almost like visualize fangs and claws coming out. It
I've
was,
seen it firsthand. Yeah.
yeah, freaky.
I don't know if any of you know this about my channel, but in my earlier Waking God's Child videos, there at the very end, I always had the ending that, it would say Waking God's Child. I would close with that. And then there was an angel that looked, had wings and everything. It looked just like an
Right.
angel, right?
Yeah, I've
Well, a
seen
lot of
that.
people thought that was clip art or just something that I just snagged offline. That was something that I actually took a picture of myself outside one night, and it kept going around my head, and I had this like just really peaceful moment come over me when it was flying everywhere. Wasn't very big. A lot of people are saying like fairy, right? But I mean, it was an angel to me. It wasn't very big. I snapped the shot right at the right moment, thinking, okay, it's going to come out as a moth or something, right? But it didn't. So at the end of those earlier videos, you'll see that the angel, and that is an actual real photo that I took myself. So the
Well,
angel and demon thing, that is one of the only peaceful moments I felt.
Wow.
And I called upon his name as well at that time too, because it was early on. I was scared to death. And then, of course, we had the light being, whatever you want to call it, that walks
Yeah.
straight out the wall
Yeah.
from my parents' house. So many. What about you, Eric? What's some of yours?
Well, are we gonna get into the weird stories now?
Let's not. Let's go with the other portion of where we wanted to start because I'm all over the place. So
What's that? What should I talk about?
Richard Bruce.
Oh,
Yeah,
No.
um,
we're just
Go
trying to
yeah.
ahead.
I
get him
mean,
on here. So
yeah, yeah. I mean, you know, I want to relay to him that we also see the whole targeted individual thing as what it actually is, such as you do, and that it is a an expression of spiritual warfare. Um,
yes,
yeah, yeah. So we're on the same page as you when you're saying things that sound weird to the general public, such as you can have a certain thought, and then all of a sudden an attack comes. Like
yes,
we are on the same page.
100%.
And from what I've seen, a lot of TIs might not entertain that as the actual reality of what's going on. Uh, I think certainly a good percentage of them, even the people that make videos regularly and talk about it for years, I think they get hung up on the whole like, oh, I'm on a list, or you know, there's people that
Yeah,
like
they think that the government's got enough funding to hire all these people, right?
yeah, like, oh, like all the like someone's been assigned to you for that day. Like, okay,
Exactly.
maybe that has happened in the past, but
Not
that's
in
not
this
like,
case.
yeah, that's not the type of thing that we're thinking is being targeted by this evil matrix reality. You know, we're seeing it as the spiritual warfare side of things, and of course that is a actually a much more sane explanation for being able to explain like how all these crazy things can happen, such as what I just said is, you know,
Yeah.
you have a certain thought and then it's like wham, you know, the police siren turns on, or you can be like, oh, you know,
I've had
you're
police behind me and then they weren't. Like
I
nothing there.
yeah, I've and I've even gotten to the point of like testing this where I'm like, okay, I'm gonna go try to go out into the middle of nowhere where
Oh.
you know, I want to just hold my camera up and make a video real quick, and I know there's no one, say at a park or wherever I am. I mean, I'll get to gotten to the point where like I said, I've tested the effect where okay, no noise, no one's here, nothing's going on. Hit record and boom, just like everything happens. People drive up like all of a sudden a dump
Exactly.
all of a sudden a dump truck is boom 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 down the road when there hasn't been a car for 20 minutes, you know, just
Totally. Yes.
yeah, so it's the spiritual warfare kind of thing,
Hmm.
and that's why the other day I liked referring and pointing to the Animatrix um, short series in which basically they give it away as that's what the Matrix is you know, the spirit world, or the actual real world in the Matrix universe. You know, they're like monitoring your signal for when you're like waking up to truth, like real truth.
Yeah.
And when your signal starts to glitch out and you start to wake up, um, then you know, the agents come and they shake you back into submission to this world system, you know, get back in line behind the other lemmings, you know.
Right.
So when I discovered Richard Bruce, yeah, it was so cool to see someone that's like saying exactly the same, you know, thing as this, which most people are not. So yeah, just the coolest guy. It'd be cool to get him on here and become like a regular, if not every, you know, we're doing these live streams pretty regularly. um if we could just get them on like once every week or two, that'd be pretty cool.
Yeah, totally agree. Totally agree. So I'm trying to make sure that this is. So here's a funny little story. All of my videos lately have been defaulting to private all by themselves. Like
Okay.
the last 3 I put on, like default to private. So I'm trying to make sure that this is not defaulted to private. But I don't
Oh,
know if you
okay.
all have the ability to check and see from your end if it's showing up, if you go to the YouTube, if it shows that we're live right now.
Well,
'Cause
Uh,
I've had some issues. We don't have any
mine came up,
comments yet, so we have 3 people watching, it does say though. So if you
well,
guys can
oh,
hear us, comment please.
mine
yeah,
came up when it first started, and it said, basically, YouTube, Waking
yeah,
God's Child is live. Do you want to watch now or watch
Okay.
yeah,
later?
That's good
yeah,
to
it is.
know because I mean, literally, that's been happening a lot. Back to that, Richard Bruce, we're telling you this. Back to that targeting stuff, things like that. Literally, mine like defaulted to private and had no idea. So
Well, and let me tell you something that's funny. You're talking about being targeted and all. When I first came out about Morgellons, I would go to the store and stuff like that, and I know like people were following me and watching me, and I don't know if I ever told you this, but I knew what was happening. So the funny part is I was like, no, we're not going to play this game. So I would walk right up to them in the store and say, hey, how you doing
me
today?
too. Yes.
Talking to them, start a conversation,
Yeah.
and next thing you know, it's like as the more I did that, the less activity that was taking place with me.
That's what happened with me. Yeah.
Yeah.
I literally confronted a man. I mean, he followed me. I mean, I was taking back streets, side streets, all like zipping back and forth. And he was without doubt right behind me on my tail. I ended up making like 2 complete circles through the city blocks, going in and out. And finally, I pulled out and pulled to the side and let him pass me. Well, he pulls out and up ahead after all of this took place. A total of probably 10 minutes of him following me around. And he pulls into a gas station and he pulls up to the pump, gets out, and I zip in like on the other side of the pump. So keep in mind, there's a pump dividing us. And I'm just like, no bullshit. I am not afraid of you at all. I have nothing to fear, nothing to lose. I've already lost it all. In other words, because I mean, literally, I think we all hit rock bottom at some point, and you have nowhere to go but up, right? After that. So I zip in on the other side, and he's not getting gas. He's just leaning against that car, and I keep seeing him trying to dodge. And then when I get out, if I move to the right, he moves to the other
What?
side, so I can't see him. So I finally was like, I didn't get gas either. I just walked around, the trash and the windshield cleaner, and just literally walked right up to him. I leaned against his car with him, and I'm like, so why are you following me? And I mean, we're both sitting there at this point, arms crossed, leaning against his car. And he goes, I don't know you. I'm like, no, I'm sure you don't know me. I said, but why are you following me? And he goes, oh, I'm not. I live here. And I'm like, no, I know everyone in this town. I said, the way you're dressed right now, and keep in mind, there is a certain stereotype to government type people. There's a stereotype. That doesn't mean they all dress like that. But what I do know is how people dress in this little podunk town. Okay. If you've lived here your whole life, you're not going to wear a Hawaiian shirt. You're not, that's outlandish. You're not going to have on Tevas, like you're going to wear cowboy boots and shorts. You're not going to wear Tevas and shorts. I mean, that's how it is here, and I mean, he's got on these in particular cargo shorts that I know are actually issued, not military issue per se, but what you see in the commissaries for sale in the military, commissaries.
Yeah.
I know because I was a military wife. I know what I shot for. I know what they are.
Yeah, I've
And
been there too.
I was just like, so this kind of goes back to like how it's spiritual, yes. But then when we talk about can the government afford to hire certain people, I don't know. My question is, was he even human? Back to Richard Bruce, I mean, reptilian possibly. I think they shapeshift. I think they can portray themselves in so many different manners. So basically, the guy had nothing to say after I called his bluff. I'm like, you are not from here. I said, you were behind me. I said, I took every last back street possible. And you and I both know if you live here that there's a straight shortcut that would have got us there in less than a quarter of a mile to this gas station right here that you're at. And I said, I'm calling your bluff. I'm not going to put up with it. You don't scare. And I got like 2 inches from his nose. I'm like, you don't scare me. And I said, have a nice night. And I walked back to my car because it was about like 8 o'clock at in the evening. About right now, this time, I guess. But he had nothing left to say. I never saw him again, ever. I mean, immediately, and actually, I pulled out. I'm not gonna lie, and I kind of hid because the high school parking lot's kind of not far from there. So I went around and kind of hid and was watching, and he pulled out towards the interstate, and he was gone just like that. So I mean, it goes back to, like I said, if you guys think that your families have turned against you, or people are being paid money to stalk you and follow you. First of all, our tax dollars wouldn't even cover all that for as many TIs as there are with us, okay? It's not practical. It's really not possible. But what I think is possible is that we do have some demonic species,
Spiritual. It's more like a spiritual type thing,
spiritual warfare at its finest, through and through.
Yeah.
All Morgellons is everything. It's the UFO, the Bigfoot phenomenon, the the tall grays. It's all one small piece of a very gigantic puzzle, in my opinion.
Well, and
there is an underworld for sure.
Like I told you too, I live in the woods. My mailbox is pretty far distance from my front door. I was sitting in my living room one day, and it's like somebody pulls in my driveway, and they're just sitting there, and I'm watching them from the window.
Yeah, you know it for sure.
45 minutes. So I finally called my neighbor. I'm like, look, I don't know who this is sitting in my driveway. I was like, but I need you to stay on the phone with me because I got the gun in my back pocket with my hand on it, and I'm gonna have the phone in my other hand. I'm gonna go ask them what the hell they want and why are they here.
Yeah.
Well, I get out the door and I get maybe 10 feet from their car, and they backed out and flew off.
Yeah, totally. I mean, so many of us experience that, and we have hot chicks here and Anthony Brown, and he said, I think, Anthony, you're trying to say in the supermarket this has happened to you, I believe. And then you said, I make music, but my aim's blocked. I'm assuming you're saying that you make music, or you like to make music, and somehow you're not able to. Is that what you're saying? Not really sure. Just clarify that for us. So, and Eric, I know you had some stories to tell too of yours early on in present day, right?
Well, nothing else really is coming to mind. I just the last maybe 10 years is lots of small examples of it.
Yeah.
So I would say just, I kind of have a balance of both freakishly positive experiences and freakishly attacks. But I'm real early on, I would say I never made myself into a victim. I never cowered. So I recognized many attacks, and I think I pretty successfully stood my ground. Yeah, I guess you could say. Never got into a position where I'm fearful or depressed about such things. Me being born and raised in the Bible, and I first read John 3:16 and completely understood and believed it at approximately age 6 or 7.
That's amazing.
Yep. So I was aware of this battleground going back to that time.
Yeah.
I mean, not completely really, but I mean by the time I hit my teenage years, I was thinking already in terms of who's got demonic influence, and who's free of that.
Hollywood everywhere.
Yeah. Yeah. So I have a little bit of a different foundation than a lot of people that, first of all, aren't saved until their 20s or 30s, and then that's when they're already being
targeted on a demonic level, right?
Yeah, because they're already an adult, already have great potential for influencing the world, so they're under attack.
Yeah.
So I'm a little bit luckier there that I kind
of
I
was born and raised in it too, but man, they got me good in my adulthood. So
okay.
It's different though. Every story matters because this is how we are piecing things together. And I think that's important that we all share those experiences because sometimes and somehow I think that these realms, the doors are opened, not necessarily by what we do, but more so
what we're
by our
exposed to,
despair.
too.
Our despair, I think.
Well, and what we're exposed to, like, my situation
Sure,
was like,
yeah.
yeah, my situation was negative before I even came into the world. So it was like a
Yeah,
whole
yeah,
life
Candy has
change.
a horrific story, and I know most people have heard it, but I mean, it is that it's just so many different walks and different talks, and it's interesting to hear yours, Eric, because that is a whole different view. And again, you don't show, you're not blatantly showing signs of Morgellons. And again, I'm going to just say it out loud. I've never believed Morgellons to be a thing as far as what it's been made to be. I believe it's spiritual warfare as well. But I also know that, the Bible talks about, bodies expelling or your eyes are opened. And I think part of your eyes being open is you expel the toxins. And I don't care whether it's, blatantly physically like we do, or like Eric, for whatever reason, you were early on, like you said. I think that you've always been in a healthy kind of environment, real big and physical, workouts and whatnot. I think that you have followed that structure so much that you were not maybe as prone to having as many toxins as most of the world has in them. I don't know. It is strange though, but interesting nonetheless.
I will say that there's definitely I didn't even think about that, but yeah, I was lucky. My mom always tried to cook a really good at least like a major dinner,
Mhm.
but definitely the rest of the meals almost every day as well. And she was very healthy, very health conscious. And to this day, my mom, she's 61 or 62,
No, I'm
and
64. Yeah.
and from a distance, she just looks like a college girl.
My mom does too. She's 64 and she looks like a college kid. So
And and
yeah,
she's
she
and
looks good.
she's still
Not college though.
super active. She's pretty much addicted to just doing like house repairs. She does
That's awesome.
nonstop like plumbing and drywall and just everything every day. She's always grinding her knuckles on something,
Yeah.
and so I had that.
Okay.
So yeah, good mom. So that helped me. Yeah, got me a good healthy
See, I
start.
mean that explains Morgellons are toxins. It's the nano quell.
Yep.
It's the nanoparticulates that are here, very present. I don't care if it came from man. I mean, I've seen crafts flying and nothing flying as they're being distributed. I don't care what anyone says. I've seen both. I've seen the real deal
Well,
airplane flying with the little black stuff behind it, and I've seen
yep.
something cylinder type shaped flying with white stuff behind it, and I've also seen stuff flying with nothing in front of it. So I'm not here with the answers to say this is this and that's that. What I'm here to say is we have had toxins being distributed throughout our world, whether it be to possibly save us from the sun heating us up with the aluminum, the heavy metals, basically, whether, it would have been innocent, as we spoke about, and then all of a sudden it's having adverse effects on some people. But I think it's been used much longer than what people realize, and that explains the thinking process, the forgetfulness, the world's not the same. They are not capable of thinking for themselves. I mean, we've got all these new diseases. We've got Alzheimer's. We've got autistic children being born daily. We've got so many things that were not present in the past on any level. Not to this extent. However, I think that either whether they're trying to help us or not, whether it's them or them, and I'm just going to leave it at that because them or them means us or them. I don't really care who it is. Somebody has sprayed something for some reason to do something, whether it's good or bad, I don't know, but it is harmful to all of us. So that's
Yeah.
just kind of how I see it. And it's also spiritual. So the connection for me is like not necessarily man made, but reptilian made that present themselves as men. I don't know.
Well,
And really, if that's truly the case, what happened to transparency in government? Because if you're
Right?
spreading it for good reasons, why not just come out and say what you're spraying
There
it
you
for?
go.
Instead of
But then,
denying
well, then
it.
again, they have lawsuits. I mean, I've heard it put different ways, but I don't think
Well,
half of our government is human. That's
yeah,
my
and
thought, you know?
just like Morgellons, you're going to sit there and deny that it exists, and that's what made me go out and post all those
Yeah.
fibers coming out of my body publicly on Facebook
I think that's
because
what
I'm
makes
like,
every one of us do that. So
yeah,
yeah, well,
it's
not
like,
all of us are doing
yeah,
that, but
I
yeah,
mean,
that's
oh
what
Eric,
stresses us
oh
too.
Eric,
It's like,
if
why?
you could have seen some of the videos, I mean, I'm talking gobs of fibers pouring out of my leg,
Yeah.
like no microscope needed either. Like,
Wow.
I was like, oh, I'm going public with this. Damn this.
Wow.
So I did. I went public with it, and I was like, God.
I think that's what, whenever I got shut down and treated, and well, when I was locked away from my child, so I'm all she's got, you know, I'm thinking she was little. She's my youngest of the girls and last one at home, but I mean, she was like 10, 9 or 10, gonna be 10. I mean, that was it. Like, you mess with the wrong freaking mom. Like, you have no idea. I didn't care about me, what happened to me, but the fact that they messed with me, making me unable to go to her lead, you know, star role in her play, took me away 3 days, drugged up. Don't remember being there. I just know I was so drugged. My head hurt, and when I came to, they're like, "You promise to never speak of this again, and we'll let you go." And I'm
Mhm.
thinking, you can't. I don't even know how I got into their attire. You know, the clothing that was a gown, a hospital gown thing. But what really perturbed me was when they said, "Promise to never speak of it again." It was like instantaneous. I'm like, okay, so something big time's going on. On top of that, I was like, who do I call? Nobody loves me anymore. I don't have one soul in the world to call that loves me to come pick me up and take me back home to my child. I've never been so broken or devastated or hurt in all my life. And instead of taking that and cowering down, I took that bundle of pain and I rose up, man. I was like, I rose to the occasion and I will not back down. And this government, and no entity, and no reptilian, nobody will ever stop me again, come hell or high water. And you're
Yeah.
welcome.
It was kind of funny because when I told my husband I was going public, he's like, "Oh, you can't do that." And my kids was like, "Mom, please don't do this." I was like, "You know what? I don't care if they send a padded wagon to this house, throw me in a straitjacket, shove a ball gag in my mouth, and lock me away in a padded cell. I will bite that ball gag in half, spit it back at them, and you got it too, bitches."
Yeah, I mean, I'm
I've
telling you, I'm not gonna lie. I did tell him, yeah, I'll never speak of it again because that's the only way I was getting out of there to my kid, and my kid came first. But
so hey Lisa,
instead, I just got loud. What's that?
so you know how we've been starting to theorize about having some kind of a healing center retreat or whatever,
Yes.
we're not announcing such a thing.
Oh,
We're
I
just
already have. Everyone that's on this channel knows I've been talking about it
okay.
forever. So yes,
Yeah,
you
yeah.
need to.
Well, kind of taking my own path and my own history here into reflection and why I feel like, because I don't feel like I'm uh, inflicted with such thing. I mean, maybe, yeah, it's constantly
It's
like being,
spiritual, and you have a healthy outlook too.
well, yeah, I mean, I generally am so positive that it pisses people off, but the the physical part, if there's like say you're looking at a river and it's a very very low river and there's a bunch of garbage that's gathering like and the river is like really slow moving because it's only a couple inches. Well, it's people are throwing wrappers and it just everything's just piling up, piling up, piling up. Well, our body is countless trillions of rivers of blood and water and other fluids, right?
Yeah, or 90% water, right?
Yeah, yeah. So I've been in the gym since age 15, okay? And now I'm 41. So in the gym my whole life, playing every kind of sport. I just love playing sports. I never made it my main thing, but I just love doing it. And so I think that inadvertently I have kept my rivers high and flowing fast, and they are able to not collect garbage, but any of this whatever coming from the sky or from bad food or from whatever.
Yeah.
I think I just got maybe lucky and staying active
I think it
and
is
it
luck, honestly.
yeah,
I've been very active, gym, like I mean, literally my whole life, like you said. So
so
it's very weird. It's luck of
yeah,
the draw, part of it.
so
Yeah,
I
and me too. I actually physically worked in warehouses doing physically demanding jobs all my life. But because I think I had been exposed to so many demonic negative things all my life that even when I started getting physically active, by that time my body was so saturated with all that negativity, like a whole lifetime of it.
mm,
Yeah.
It's like,
Without doubt, though, there is a component coming from above. Without
yeah,
doubt.
and then another thing too, just to mention this, when you're talking about keeping your rivers open and flowing and working out and stuff, physically, I did physically demanding jobs. I walked everywhere I went. But one thing I never did, which a lot of people with Morgellons talk about this, I never had the ability to sweat.
oh,
So,
Wow.
yeah. And I didn't sweat
I
until
sweat.
like probably like 2010, 2011. I started taking wormwood drops
Wow.
internally,
and you're in
and
Florida.
that induces
Yeah,
sweating.
I can imagine. I mean, I sweat bad here in Texas. The humidity
Yeah.
is
So,
God.
but I think that, I was so clogged up because I
Yeah,
never had the ability to sweat those toxins and all that negativity out,
yeah.
that my body just became so riddled with everything. It's like,
Yeah.
and
You
at
know what's
least I can
weird
tell you,
though? So
as
many
far as
walks
the
to talk
physical,
though. It doesn't. It's like it doesn't make sense to me. You
well,
can't
and
sweat. I can sweat. He was saved, I would say, like early on. I mean, it's so strange. And this is lots of people I talk to. Every walk and story so different. Some are
Okay.
active. Some are in the gym. Some have done nothing but eat, Twinkies. But it's still it comes down to spiritualness if you think about it, because
Yeah.
like that's a lot of different
that's the
avenues
only
there.
that's the only common denominator,
Yeah, for sure. Because the more you think about it, it's like, but yeah, we're experiencing these. Well, and I don't even think it matters whether the Morgellon side. I just think whatever it is spiritually, internally, affects us differently, whether it be UFOs or Bigfoot or Morgellons or all of them in my case, or Loch Ness monster. I mean, it's just like all these things. You notice there's never a clear picture on. No matter what, you're never going to really see a clear picture of a UFO. Not to prove that it is that, right? I mean, you might get a round ball orb, right? Perfectly round. And you could very much say, yeah, it's a great picture and it proves an orb, but you're still going to have someone come back on that and say, how do we know that that's an orb? You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
there is no clarity in any of this, which tells me it is spiritual through and through. I mean, all of it. So I don't know. I do know that those that do have a perfect craft. Well, that's us. I mean, I know I was an ex-military wife, and I mean, I know we have the capability of doing half of that stuff. The ones that can zip out of the way faster than the blink of an eye, like Superman. Yeah, it might be us, it might not, but I mean, nope. Sorry, Eric had me watch the movie Nope. I cannot explain it better. Like, that is what I see.
Yeah.
Biological creatures, not UFOs, not anything to what we've been thinking. I don't know any other way to put it, but I mean, Eric said you're describing the movie Nope last night. So I
Yep.
ended up renting it so I could watch it on my 60-inch. So I was just like dumbfounded, shocked. My jaw was on the ground because I'm the only person I've ever heard or know of that said that they're biological living in creatures or entities, that they're not actually machines or like components of structure with metal or foreign substances. They are biological. And when I watched that, I was just like, holy crap. I mean, in the most holy crap sense, that's where I was. I
Yep.
mean, I could not believe what I saw, because I've been saying this for years, that these crafts are not crafts. They can light up portions of their body and become
Yep.
whatever they want.
Yep. They're Ezekiel's wheel. They're a living being.
Thank you. Yes. That's what
Yeah.
it is. I mean, that's why he describes so many, the eyes, all the eyes. And I mean,
And they
it is,
yeah. And
it's
they
an
have their
entity. It's not a freaking metal ship or craft like you're
yeah.
thinking. It's
They
nothing like
have
that.
And I it's been many years since reading that part of Ezekiel, but I think it
Yeah.
says something like it has its own will, like basically whichever, like
And
wherever it wants to
eyes, and
go,
there
in
was
whichever.
multiple wills that kind of inter.
Well,
Well,
I think, well, it says something like whichever way it wants to go, it just goes.
Yeah,
Um,
with no rhyme or reason, basically.
well,
yeah,
and look at some of the stuff we've gotten out of our bodies, and the like the perfect shape of a dog, or it's
Anything,
fibers,
because they can
but
become
it's
whatever
a
they want.
bird, or like
I've
the
had the
most
newspaper come out,
bizarre
like
shapes and
there's a
stuff
Sunday
you've ever
Times
seen.
right there.
Yeah,
Yeah, for
yeah.
real. It is in
Oh,
us,
and
around us, by us,
yeah,
everywhere.
and remember those one fibers that come out of my leg that was like nano lattices that
It's
had
same
like
thing.
chain
Yeah,
links?
me
There was
too.
chain links. It was a cluster of them, and I was like, "What
Yeah.
the hell is
I have
that?"
one that looked like exactly like the one I never did show you that. But I mean,
wow.
I haven't had any of that really happen in a long time. But
Me
I mean,
either.
early on, the craziest thing, like, I mean, I would watch something shapeshift right in front of me, like something that came from my body or what we believe, as I mean, we watch it happen, right? But then there was times I'm like, that's not even humanly possible. Like, which goes back to seeing the crafts of most. That's not humanly possible, or Bigfoot that shouldn't be humanly possible. But I mean, I think everything is possible. And the whole point that everyone's missing is don't ever say never because honestly, we have no clue what exactly is and isn't. We didn't
So
make it. We weren't the ones I just get so sick of everyone saying not possible. Scientifically, maybe not, but that's because that's our scientific, definition of it. It
so
doesn't
here's
mean
a
it's right.
here's a crazy theory that just popped into my head. So we we're like the people that are falling off the world's
The
path,
wagon,
and yeah, falling off the
the
wagon.
wrong
and
wagon though.
and and so what if, in an attempt to control us or get us back on, these things are attacking us physically and trying to cripple us
Of
mentally,
course, that's what
spiritually,
they're
or
doing.
and
Yeah,
and and like maybe that could explain some, the fibers and grids. Maybe it's
I've said that
constructing,
forever too.
maybe
We're
it's constructing some kind of antenna to, like, further attune you to the world
yes,
frequency, so that it's trying to get you back in,
I
plug
totally
plug
believe that.
plug plug
Yeah,
back in, plug back into the matrix,
back to the
exactly.
matrix. When and also though, I think we're expelling it because our spiritual growth is ever so present. That's how I've always felt because I became more clear thinking as these things started vacating my body. I became awake, which explains why all these people that have Morgellons all of a sudden they start seeing UFOs and everything else. To me, that is a very strong indication of I've expelled bad properties that were within my human self, and now I can see. I can see clearly now, right? Like for real.
The
It's,
rain is
we're,
gone.
yeah. I will tell you, a big turning point in my life was, yeah, I think before I said around 2007, I started to wake up to, like, not just like biblical things, but all of the whole truther realm, was basically presented to me, and I was like, down that first rabbit hole in like 2007. And coincidentally, what I also did right at that time was completely stop drinking soda, and, like, basically stopped eating, like, a lot of candies and stuff like that. And
Yeah, I
and
can't
and,
do that.
and I've been pretty strict with that. I mean, I can count on two hands, like, the number of sodas I've had since 2007.
Oh
And
man, I'm like
and
addicted to Coca-Cola.
and before that, I was Mountain Dew crazy. I was, like this, like a LAN party gamer. Like, one of my favorite hobbies was to get together with friends, and we'd all bring our computers and plug them in and play network games. This is before internet gaming. This is like in the 90s. But um, I was that, we'd stay up all night, like literally zero sleep, and it would just be like infinite cans of different flavors of Mountain Dew and pizza, and just
I
like
like
just slam and do and pizza all night. And so I went from, that kind of health. I mean, not like every day, but like that was pretty much my weekends. Like for many years, I just was so unhealthy in what I was eating,
Yeah.
and I had no real growth during those years. I was just a total zombie to this world, just trying to work a job and live paycheck to paycheck, and I really wasn't thinking beyond my two fingers. But then once I started eating really much, like obviously better. I wouldn't say like good right away, but like way better. Coincidentally,
Yeah.
that's when I
I
had
mean,
my
I don't believe
awakening,
anything's
and
healthy anymore, though. I think it's all infected. That's
Yeah,
me.
yeah. Well, and you talk about that, like with the drinking the sodas like that. Back when I was younger, I used to like, oh man, I'd probably drink 4 to 6 Pepsis a day. I love
I
Pepsi.
drink Coke every day.
But and then one day, all of a sudden, I went to go drink my Pepsi, and I was like, this tastes like metal, and it was
That's what
so
I'm noticing with
disgusting.
most food.
It was
Yeah.
overwhelmingly tasting like metal, where I'm like, this
Yeah.
is not right. And then, I'd drink another one and be like, I still taste the metal. And then, like when I got pregnant, like my 5 senses kicked in like majorly, because if I would go to open like a can of vegetables, I would smell the metal. And it's
uh,
like I couldn't
Yeah.
eat
I
canned
think that's a
vegetables.
pregnancy symptom, though, because I had that too, and a lot of people I know did.
But what I'm saying is it might have been a pregnancy symptom, but
But
it
it's probably
woke
the
me
right symptom.
But it woke me up, because
Yeah.
now, I mean, I can't even hardly stand to even thought of opening up a can of vegetables. I like frozen or fresh, but
Right. Well,
the
anything I
canned
buy
stuff.
at Walmart, I can taste that in all the food. I mean,
Mm,
food I can hardly eat anymore because I find the food doesn't taste the same, especially from Walmart, which is the only store we have here, really. But I mean, I think it's probably everywhere. I mean, that just led me to believe everything's contaminated because
mm,
if it's in our water sources and our food supplies, you got to
yep,
think our cattle, our swine, they're all partaking of the streams and the fields where they eat.
yep,
And then we eat it, or our vegetables that grow, and whether that be here, there, or
well,
yonder, they're still
and
growing from the soil. If it's
think
coming from
about
the
that
sky,
think about that digital bovine dermatitis, Eric, if you've never
yeah,
heard of that. That
yeah,
is
no,
that's perfect.
that is the cattle form of Morgellons.
That's exactly,
oh,
yeah, that's
It's
what it
called
is basically.
digital bovine dermatitis.
I'm gonna
Except
look
for
that up.
ours turns into newspapers or entities or
They
shoes or
get
fish or
Yeah,
right,
the
Candy? She
cattle
had like a
well, the
fish, a
cattle
monkfish.
the cattle get it on their hooves. And if you think about it, they're outside in the fields all day grazing on the grass, and what
Right,
goes up must come down.
right.
And they're standing in it
But
all
that's the point
day.
of eating healthy is like, where do you get it? I try to buy organic everything, and I'm telling you, there is nothing organic about it. I can taste it.
Yeah.
It's not.
Yeah, when I'm at the grocery store these last many years, even if it's at a place like Whole Foods or like some place that claims to be organic, I
Yeah, they're
consider it
not. Whole Foods.
I consider it like I'm in a minefield, or like I'm hunting for the stuff that is
It is like that.
like normal or not poisonous. So when I go to the grocery store, I'm just like, by default, I'm buying nothing is my mindset, and I'm just like selectively picking out the few things that I
We
know are
have to
like
eat.
okay-ish.
It's hard though. We have to eat. We have to consume, but our world is contaminated. And I mean, the Bible kind of talks about, man and AI taking over and the contamination, and leads to the disease and plagues. We're here. We're in those times. I mean,
Yeah,
our days of finding fresh anything or organic are long gone, in my
But-
opinion. And that's because I believe on the biblical level of it.
And again, even years ago, like when I first started, I didn't know what was going on yet, but we'd go to the grocery store and we'd be like looking at the meat, and my husband would pick something up, and I'd look at it, I was like, that looks like cardboard. It looks like plastic. And so I'm saying that God gave us 5 senses for a reason. He gave
Yep.
us a sense of sight, smell, taste. And so a lot of times we get so contaminated with all this toxic stuff, it's like we don't even use the 5 senses that God gave us.
Right.
And so if you look at something and it doesn't look real, then more than likely it's not real. It's fake food.
I
So
haven't seen any
it's
real
like,
food in I don't know how long. And I told you about
yeah,
Butterball and Tyson, the turkeys and
yeah, but
chickens that my
yeah,
ex-husband's family
yeah.
raised.
Well, and like my
They
husband
cooked
asked me
them full
today,
of it.
went to go see the grandbaby, and he said, "You want to stop up the road there, that chicken place, and get some chicken?" I'm like, "No. Every time I eat fast food chicken, I wind up sick as a dog.
I'm going to
Oh,
tell
Every
you why if you want to hear it.
I know why. It's all the crap that they're putting in it, the
Well, I
preservatives
mean,
and
I
seasoning and
literally
everything."
firsthand watched, we would get baby poults in, just freshly hatched from the eggs, right? And within 12 weeks, we would have a 60-pound bird ready to be on your Thanksgiving table. From a poult
whoa.
to a 60-pound turkey. And I was a girl going up there wearing a baby on my back and a backpack, ordering the feed and having to go up and medicate the birds. Medicate is what they called it, per Tyson and Butterball. My
Yeah.
ex-husband would be overseas doing his thing, and his grandfather passed away, so I'm helping raise these birds. We had 7,000 birds per house, 4 houses for the chickens and 4 for the turkeys. Baby poults to a 60-pound bird in 12 weeks, and I'm medicating them thinking, oh, they must be sick. I had to go up. I had to set my alarm for 3 a.m., 6 a.m., oh, and midnight, starting at midnight. I'm wearing my kids on my back, going up there. And in their water, we did it through the water system, the water feeders. And, when you put it through the main feeder system, it distributes out throughout the entire house into each individual water feeder, right? And I couldn't figure out, like, I never was understanding how these birds were like this big and in 12 weeks, 60 pounds and shipped out. Of course, I had to billy club the week over the head because it was just, like a extra waste of feed consumption. And we had to, be very conservative with the feed. But, I'm ordering 6 tons of food, at a time. And when it goes down, you got to count how many tons you got to fill up. And so 2 tons here, 2 tons there. And in that feed were all these hormones.
Wow.
And then I wondered, why are my daughters developing breasts so early? Where I was built like a 12-year-old boy pretty much my whole life.
Right.
Why are these girls around me, these young girls, early ages, some of them are, menstruating, not mine, but like so many, like my daughters would come home 8 years old telling me about it.
Yeah, I've heard
Boys
about this.
growing beards, I mean,
I've heard about this,
hello, it's
and
in
then
that.
look at even all the like middle school boys who are a little
That's
chubby.
what yeah, it's in that.
They got man boobs at age 12.
Thank you. Exactly. And that is why all these hormones. So here's me with the experience of the turkeys and the chickens. What the hell do we think's going on with the cattle and the swine and anything else you eat, including your
Yep.
veggies? They're getting them to the table as quick as they can. Your vegetables have growth hormones.
Yep.
GMOs, genetically modified organisms. Candy, tell them again what that is. Yeah.
Genetically modified organisms. The DNA
Mm-hmm.
being changed of other living organisms in your food supply. What do you
Anything alive. Yeah. So if there's GMOs in there, what do you think's in there? Yeah, that's
you're
why your
eating?
lettuce stays green for months, right? That's why your freaking romaine lettuce especially goes for probably 2 months. Like nothing goes bad. It's not preservatives. Your preservatives have little friends. They're called GMOs. Yeah, they're organisms that are alive.
I want to point out something that Kat said in a comment not that far down. How all of a sudden you're looking at all these boxed foods and it's saying contains bioengineered ingredients or
Yeah,
whatever. That's something my sister pointed out to me a few months
Everywhere.
ago. She said she was at Dollar General, and of course this is not like a place we're shopping for food, but she happened to look
Yeah.
look at some of the boxes and notice that, whoa, like all the boxes now say contains bioengineered ingredients.
Everywhere. Yeah.
So there must have been some legislation that now makes them actually be explicit about advertising that.
No,
And
it's not.
No, because
It's
that
not.
still doesn't sound scary. Like,
You know what? No, what it is because, listen, they have a code. They have to tell us what they're doing to us.
yeah,
So that's why they put it on the boxes. Not because they're required to by law. it's because they have a code. They have to tell us what they're doing.
I know about
And
that.
that
Yeah.
way,
Well, you
it's
think about
like,
it, genetically
it's like,
modified or bioengineered. To us people or some people, that doesn't mean
it's like,
crap.
oh, it's called informed consent.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
But I mean, some people don't know the terminology, whether you say bioengineered or geoengineered. Some people are so in the system and literally structured where that means nothing. That's scientific to me. I don't know. It must be good for me. That's the way of thinking. You know? I
Oh,
mean, they don't
yeah.
pay attention to it.
And Eric, if you have not seen the Triscuit commercial,
Oh
that
yeah.
one burns me a new one. The
Okay.
lady comes on there, she's reading the Triscuit box, right? You can look it up on YouTube. And anyway, she's reading the Triscuit box, and this is a commercial on TV.
Okay.
She's, oh, Triscuit. I'm non-geological. It's non-geological. Triscuit's non-geolog. Oh, Triscuit. It's non-genetically modified. And neither am I. And she winks her eye and grins real big.
Yeah. There's your programming right there.
Winks her eye at
Neither
you.
am I.
Neither am
Wow.
I. Winks her eye.
Yeah.
Wow.
Non-genetically
Weird.
modified.
Yeah,
Weird.
that commercial, when I saw that, I'm like, oh, you assholes. That's
Yeah, I
evil.
mean, it's bad. They're blatant in your face, but people are sleeping. They can't. It doesn't matter what they put on the box or what
Yeah,
they.
so
You
so the
know.
food so the food is getting worse and worse, and then we've got all these natural disasters that are making the ground poisonous, like
Contaminated. Yeah.
in great ways, in large areas. And then, something just interesting popped into my mind. Have you guys encountered John Titor, Titor?
No.
Mm.
This guy made some internet fame, I think, going back all the way to the early 2000s or even like 1999. So John Titor, he came out and was putting out messages on forums on the internet claiming to be a time traveler, and that he was I forgot what year it was, but it was quite a ways in the future. But he was talking about being really concerned about where his food came from, and like wanting to know that it was local and on an organic farm and in a non-contaminated area. And th- and he made a big thing about talking about he was concerned about where his food from. And this was going, like I said, going back to like 99. So, the more time passes, the more John Teeter's claims kind of make sense. And I mean, obviously, this is a greatly different topic. We don't have to talk about like time travel and whatever right now, but I just think it was very interesting that he was pretty much obsessed with knowing where his food came from.
Yeah, makes sense. Wow. Although, just with the experience I've had knowing where the food, and we composted too. So composting means you're putting the dead, which like I said, I had to billy club these weak birds over the head, carry out the dead, throw them in this composter.
Oh, wow.
Okay, so we're using that as fertilizer because I go grow my garden with that fertilizer. Big old tomatoes like you've never seen. I mean, like literally like you've never seen. And thinking nothing of it. I'm like, just, oh, I'm an amazing gardener. Look at me go.
Oh my God, that's the Matrix. I, I stood
What?
there in awe watching them feed the dead intravenously to the living, right?
Right. Yeah, but I mean that yes. Yes.
That's the
So
Matrix.
it was just going right back in, right back in.
Yeah.
Because composting is a very big part of anything like when it comes to farming and crops and all of that is the biggest part of their natural fertilizer, which is it's not. Like we are so deceived on so many levels. And again, I'm going to go back to our kids developing before they ever should have. When I
Yeah.
was little, kids didn't look like they do now. These girls that are 10, 12 years old look like freaking women. The boys have full beards, like chest hair, and I'm just like, no, no, no. That was not happening. It's obvious what's going on.
Yeah.
Everything, a little bit of this and that.
Yeah. Yeah, I think a lot of guys used to still be growing in their early 20s.
Yes.
Like our growth, I think, was
Boys
mu
didn't catch
much.
up till way later.
Yeah, I think our growth was much more stretched out. Like I was still growing when I was probably 20.
My husband
Uh,
was 4 years older than me, and he looked like a kid still. He was 24 when I married him. He looked like a
okay.
kid still,
Yeah.
and my
Yeah.
ex-husband. But yeah, I mean, it's just like, and he was 28 before he started filling out. I mean, it's just not normal what's going on these days. My daughter just had her friends over tonight that are in theater with her, and these boys are full beards,
Yeah.
huge, like buff,
Yeah.
like the Rock, and I'm just like,
Yeah.
nuh-uh.
Not normal, not natural. That
No, not
they're
normal
the
at any level.
you could call them Tyson boys and Tyson girls.
Exactly. I mean, it's just super obvious that something big, well, we
Yeah.
know has changed, whether the GMOs and the hormones, you put that's a deadly combination on top of that, because if they're developing that early, then they're aging even earlier.
So,
Yeah.
I mean, the only thing we
Kat
can do
mentioned
is
the
our
Soylent.
best.
Kat mentioned the Soylent Green movie. I was just thinking about that when we
Oh
were
yeah,
talking about all that.
We talked about that the other night. Yep.
I've seen that.
That is
That's for
right.
sure.
What were you
Soylent Green is people.
saying? No, I mean, honestly though, I sometimes I feel like that's what I'm eating. I'm not kidding. And they're doing it. I mean, they're trying to make everything legit, right?
Year,
Cockroaches, everything else. So
years ago, I intuitively declared that McDonald's is feeding you people.
yes, that's what that's where I was going. That's what I ate. That I said, I swear, I feel like there's a person that is that's not right. I won't touch
McDonald's is
McDonald's
feeding
with
you
a 10
people.
foot pole because I swear it's humans that they're using.
Yeah, I haven't eaten
In my
McDonald's
opinion,
since forever.
yeah, it's gross. It's
Forever,
so
like
gross.
20 years or whatever.
My
I
little
won't.
granddaughter, the one that lived here with me for a while. It's like, and she'll tell anybody. She's like, "No, I don't eat at McDonald's. That clown is evil."
Nah,
She gets that from me. She's like, "I'll eat
Well, I
ice
mean,
cream."
think about it. The
She said, "They got
clown
good ice
actually
cream
is
there."
associated with the Nephilim or the Anunnaki, those who fell from
that
heaven.
She's like, "But they have good
More
ice cream
symbolism.
though." You hear me?
Huh?
She says they got good ice cream though.
no, they
Yeah, they
don't.
do have that, but
No, they
yeah, I
don't.
mean, McDonald's clown is a
Say
whole different level with that. The clown
yeah,
thing is that could be a whole other show.
Well,
but
that's a
that,
good YouTube series from, I forgot the name of the channel, but the
Scariest
what was
movie
it?
ever.
What is it?
The
Oh,
scariest movie ever.
yeah, I know he does that, and then it's one other. I don't know. There's a whole series called The Nephilim Were Clowns.
That's him. Oh yeah, I watch him all the time. That's the scariest movie ever, right? Him and the other guy are buddies. So
I know KJ is behind the
KJ, yeah,
scariest movie ever. I'm talking about a different
yeah,
channel.
yeah, yeah.
It might be called
Yeah,
Elusive Truths.
it's the Nephilim were clowns. That's how I got
Yep,
that whole thing watching him. It was that. What did you just say?
Elusive Truth, something like that.
Something like that.
Elusive
I mean,
Truths.
I just watched him
Yeah,
yesterday.
that's some legit stuff. Yep.
Quantum of Content. No, not that one.
No, it's not Matt.
My tongue. Yeah, I have
That's
it. I
that's
know who
another
you're talking
guy.
about.
That's another guy I want to talk about.
The quantum of conscience.
Conspiracy stuff with. Hey guys, it's Matt. I love that guy. I've been listening
Yeah.
to
So
him for
Matt,
years.
if you're listening at all, or any of you know Matt from Quantum of Conscious, please get in touch with us.
Yeah, he's he's
He's
so gr
diehard, man.
he's so good at just letting it all out, just talking and
Yeah.
talking about the most interesting stuff for hours on end, and he just bangs out
Yep.
the videos like every week. I just love listening to that guy because I mean it's basically my inner monologue, coming out of someone else's mouth. So of course it's just super
Yeah.
entertaining. Um,
I
lo-
totally like he was one of the earlier ones in 2015, 18 that I ran across as well. Um, and he's been booted off YouTube so many times, but I love he's just like, I'm coming back, I'm coming back. And he just talks it to him, and
yeah,
he's passionate, and I love that because you gotta be, and he is very accurate. Very accurate.
I love
And
the
Nichols
hobo
in
code.
1968 was too, but I haven't seen much of him lately. So
His hobo code is hilarious.
what's that?
Oh, you're not fully caught up on watching him. He has a
Hobo
hobo
code.
code
Oh,
where
oh, oh, wait. Sorry. So you're back to quantum conscious.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah,
So
yeah.
I barely caught that the other day, though. Actually. So yeah, the
Yeah, he
hobo
just
code that
has
he was just recently said, or like what he was talking about, his hobo
well,
code with the reality.
yeah, he has a whole collection of words
Yeah,
that he uses in place of certain words. It's just hilarious.
he's funny as crap too. But well, go ahead and tell him because I think that these names we're throwing out there for channels you guys should check out. But any you want to throw in there too, please.
I need to step out for a minute. I'll be right back.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah, nothing else.
Oh,
Well, I mean,
You were
if we're
telling me some channels earlier. I think that's the best way to share that. Most people don't do that, so.
nothing's popping into mind right away.
Hi, Derek, Anthony, Cat. We got Derek, Anthony, Cat. So we got quite a few actually watching right now too. I'm showing 46. You guys have any comments and channels that you would recommend to us too? Please put
Someone
it in the
says
comments.
enter the stars channel. I'm gonna just screenshot on my phone so I check that later.
Okay. Cat said Matt used to. Oh, I can't read it.
Conspiracy RS. I think I'm subscribed to them.
Oh, Cat, I didn't know that.
Oh, I should give mad respect call out to Melissa, or is it Melinda? It's one of the, I think it's Melissa Dykes. The channel
Oh,
is
True Stream Media.
Truth Stream Media,
Yes,
and
I totally love them. I
uh,
freaking love them.
yeah,
Melissa Dyke.
just the couple that I could just feel like I've known my whole life. Obviously,
Oh
just
yeah, I've
perfectly
been following them
normal,
forever too. Yeah,
awake
that's
people.
my people.
And I have to give her credit for being the one that
Yeah,
first hit me with the Mandela effect. It
yeah, me
was
too.
really you caught her video with Berenstein Bears?
For real, yes.
That was the
I was like, oh
intro.
my gosh,
That was the intro to that for me.
oh my
And
gosh,
when I
that's
encountered that,
hilarious.
I think I was like laying in bed. I can't remember if it was like early morning or late night, but I immediately got up and I was like, this
So
is big. This is a thing. I went down that rabbit hole so fast.
yes,
Um,
yes, and it was
eh,
Melissa Dyke off of Stream Media that did that. Yes,
yep. And so I
that's
probably
too
like
much.
I got addicted to that topic, and thanks
That's
to her,
awesome.
it hit me right away. And
She nailed it
she
too.
yeah, and she hit me with the perfect one for me because I think maybe even on this channel I've explained my Berenstein Bears, or was I just telling that to you?
I think you and I talked about it. You keep telling them. I'll be right back. So
Okay, well I'll give my my history with. Okay, so here, I mean, this is obviously like deviating from our path of topics, but anyway, regardless, I think it's an interesting story. So it it's just a great coincidence that my introduction to the Mandela effect came with the Berenstein Bears change because at age 6 or 7, my dad got a job working for Western Publishing in Racine, Wisconsin, and they were the company, like they were like the single publisher that produced the Golden Books series, which probably a third or more of Americans are aware of. Super popular, book series, and they did a lot of the Berenstein Bears as Golden Books.
you guys can see that.
So yeah, yep.
Bought that today just to make sure I wasn't crazy.
Ah,
what is that?
It's the Berenstain Bears now.
no, yeah.
They sold a
The,
water bottle. I saw it at the store today. I'm like, I'm buying it just because it's probably gonna be worth some money one day in some other lifetime. So
yeah, so I almost learned how to read by reading all these golden books, of which my dad brought home for me, many of which were the Berenstain Bears, and I got like really good at phonetics and spelling and stuff like that. And I mean, even to the point where I did, I think, 2 straight years in elementary school, getting 100% on every spelling test every week. Um,
Yeah.
and it just came naturally to me. Okay,
Man,
so
spelling has always been natural for me too. Like spelling bee champion here.
yeah, yeah. So I mean, yeah, it's like some people that's just how you are, right? You're just really detail oriented, and spelling and grammar and stuff like that comes natural because you're thinking, you're peering into the nitty gritty. So I remember one day asking my library teacher, um, why are we saying Berenstein when it's spelled like Frankenstein? Shouldn't we be saying Berenstein?
Yeah.
And I specifically remember where I was standing in this library, and the like long dress she had on, and just standard librarian in the 80s clothing. And I still remember standing there asking her that, and her answer was just, "Oh, it's just a name, and names can have different pronunciations." So I've got that very specific memory burned into my mind about Berenstein.
Yeah, versus stain.
It's just too specific.
It's so weird too. I remember
Yep.
talking to you about that. So, do you guys have that same experience of any like not the same obviously, but you had I mean, I'd like to hear in the comments. All of us would. How about you, Richard Bruce? Do you have any insane bears that you
If
remember or anything?
if he's still watching this video.
Yeah, I know he's watching. Richard Bruce, you're watching. I know you are. I'm just gonna keep saying it. So,
Someone says Mandela oh, that's Cat. Mandela effect equals gaslighting.
and Melissa Dyke, we would love to have you too. By the way, Truth Stream Media, Melissa Dyke. Yep. Quantum of Conscious. Come on, Matt. Come on down. The price is right.
Yeah.
Any of you guys, come on. But I'm telling you though, that like you said, I mean, I was just like watching Melissa Dyke on that. I was just like, holy, what is going on? I mean, I kind of maybe knew, but she put it like, I don't know. It just struck something with me. So
Well, she explained exactly what I just explained.
yeah,
So
yeah.
it
But I
was
mean,
amazing.
it stuck with me so bad. Like, it's like what? I don't know. Do you know that? Like, have you thought about some of the other ones? Like, what are some of your other Mandela effects, for instance? Because there
Well,
seemingly seems some sort of a glitch or something. I don't know.
I so I got really into that topic, and then for the following year plus, I would like re-dive into it to see if there was any new big change. And so I first discovered it when Melissa dropped that video. I think that was maybe in 2016. But then I think it was in summer of 2017 when I landed on a what I saw as a new Mandela effect, and it was the Apollo 11 movie with Tom Hanks, the very famous movie, commonly quoted of his, where people are, quoting, Houston, we have a problem, right? And
Yeah,
and I encountered now, as of 2017, I encountered that it was now the camera is on Tom Hanks, goes, just him, and he says, Houston, we've had a problem.
yeah, and that's not how we heard it.
And that wasn't what was the commonly parroted phrase. That's not what
Luke,
I
I am your
remember from the.
father was mine.
Okay.
Yeah, did you
Well,
ever experience that one?
I was never a Star Wars person.
I
I
wasn't, but I had a brother, so I saw it enough to know, Luke, I am your father.
Okay.
So, and that is apparently not how it ever happened. And by the way, Candy, I had a Mandela effect on this the other day. Hold on a second. I got to show her this. So this is Candy on the poster board here.
It's
The
Her
backwards.
name, her whole face was up on a huge billboard.
Okay.
God, I can't get the stupid light out of the way.
What's the website? Is that still
Bye
active?
bye Blue Sky.
No, it's not active anymore.
It's not.
Okay.
But I mean,
Mhm.
I guess so. I had a Mandela effect about that. For whatever reason, I had a okay. Maybe it's not a Mandela effect because I guess I had a dream. It was last night. You know how it says "Bye bye blue sky." I saw "Hello you sky," and then on this picture of you, Candy, it had you in this voluptuous, beautiful hair, and it's beautiful. Like you look like a supermodel.
That's
And I
because
was
you're always
like,
talking about my hair.
no, I mean, I seriously had I glitched or something. It was completely opposite of this. It was like
Wow.
hello. It was like hello blue sky, and you had a can in your hand or something, and this hair, and I was like, what the crap just happened? So I had to pull this up because when we were talking about that, it struck me. It wasn't really Mandela effect, but kind of.
Well,
It seemed like it.
Was it like a vision type? Were you awake?
Yeah. It said hello blue sky instead of bye bye blue sky. And
Wow.
you had this just your hair is gorgeous, obviously, but I mean your hair was all you look like a supermodel and you're holding some can. I have no idea what the can was.
A can of Pepsi I've been missing all these years.
Wow.
That's funny.
You fell into another world for a moment.
So, I mean, literally, I don't know if it's a glitch. Does anyone else have these things where you feel like you're somewhere else and everything's the exact opposite of what you're experiencing? I just need to know.
Well,
Like
I
on
can tell you
on
what's
and
been
off
happening
briefly.
to me lately. Is okay, a lot of times with people with Morgellons, we don't remember our dreams. And it's like, I've had some really nice things happen to me lately, in real life. But then when I sleep, it's like my dream is just even though it was a good, positive experience in the flesh, then I'm dreaming about it in my sleep, and it's just the opposite. It's evil and it's scary. And I've had some pretty scary dreams lately where some devastating, wake me up and I'm like, oh my God, it seemed like it was so real.
It
Like,
probably was.
well, and I had a really good time with my granddaughter when my daughter was giving birth, and that was all positive, and everything that was happening, I felt good with it because I've had the negative energy from the past. And so then when I came home, I'm like, I'm having bad dreams.
Yeah.
And then even though everything's positive in my own personal life, I lay down the other day and then I dreamed I was going to a store, and I get there and I go to get out, and these two men are just kind of casually walking close to my car. And I'm thinking to myself, knowing good and damn well they're getting too close, but instead in my, what do you call it? I guess, trying to see the good in everything, even though I know they're physically getting too close to me, I don't trust my better judgment and slam the door and drive off. I proceed to get out of the car. Well, I got abducted. So, and it was like
Yeah.
it was real. And so I knew better. I knew, I could sense that something negative was going to happen, and
Yeah. That's weird.
I didn't choose the red flag. You know what I mean?
That has a message in it for real.
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah. And then even when I managed to get away from them, it's like I got at a business like a mile down the road away, and this guy was hiding me in the back room, and then it's like all of a sudden they were there at that business looking for me. And I'm inside thinking I could sneak past them, and I walk right out in front of them, and then it's like, then I'm busted again, and I'm like, okay, you didn't use your brain, dummy. What were you thinking?
Dummy.
But I mean,
Kat,
I'm
I
just
just saw Kat's comment on. She said Matt never talks about solutions, so I do have to agree with that. Sometimes I watch him in small doses. And Matt, if you're listening, the reason I'm saying this is because we're in a chaotic world and mess right now, and sometimes and I've done it myself, when we're panicked and we're just screaming and ranting, and it actually has an effect on other people watching. And then when we offer no solutions, but we just complain about what's going on and guilty as charged right here, I understand what she's saying and coming from,
Yeah.
and it's something we all have to work on for sure. I do think he's golden. I think he's upset. I'm upset. We are all upset. So I mean, in all due cause, he's deserving of that. But I mean, the solution, Kat, you're correct. We need to look for solutions. And even if we can't find those solutions, we need to find the upbeat side instead of always pointing out the negative and the obvious of where that's headed, and
Yeah.
maybe turn that around vibrationally and ripple effect it backwards, right?
Well, and that's what I was trying to say about my dreams here lately, because I have no fear anymore. I have no fear. And so maybe subconsciously in my dreams, I was trying to not fear a situation that I should have feared. And
Yeah,
so,
that's yeah,
and so because I have no fear, it's like things don't bother me. I don't feel the negative energy that I used to get when I left and I was in
yeah,
fear of everything. And
Yeah. Yeah.
so
yeah. I've lost a lot of that too, and I think a lot
I
of that.
think
'Cause, I mean, I've worked hard on myself. I think Eric and I were
sometimes that
talking about that.
sometimes that's a
Got to keep
detriment
working.
to us, because then when we should fear things, then it's like, okay, you got to know the fine line, you know?
Yeah,
So
that
I
is true.
think my dreams have been a message to me that, hey, yeah, you live fearlessly, but sometimes you need to fear things.
Yeah, absolutely. But I mean, I like the way you put that there. I mean, you do lose a lot of fear. I mean, we have seen the pits of hell. I'm just going to put it out there. Like,
Yeah.
people like us have seen pretty much the worst as far as this realm goes. There's nothing too much that's going to shake us or break us. And we fear nothing after this. I'm not saying that for everyone. I know a lot of people have a hard time coming out of that. But if you just remember, you're still here, you're still alive, your hair on your head has not been touched, so to speak, in an aspect that they've taken your life. You have to know that you have the power over it. You can't
But
allow it to have
I
the
want
power
to
over you.
I want to talk a minute on the whole like getting addicted to discussing the problems. I was at a coffee shop today, and there's just people all around me, and I'm just trying to like work on the computer, do the stuff I was doing by myself. But every once in a while, of course, I glance up and kind of tune into what people are talking about, and it's just blah blah blah, gossip, gossip, gossip. Did you
Yeah.
hear this? Did you hear that? Blah blah blah. Right? It's just
Yeah.
it's
Small
it's
talk.
the I feel like it's the default small talk, yeah, where
Yeah.
it doesn't take any effort to
It's
do.
programmed.
It's just the lowest hanging fruit on the conversation tree.
You
And
betcha.
have you guys heard of the I don't know what you would call it, but it's where simple minds will discuss the past events. A mediocre mind will discuss current events, and a brilliant mind will discuss future.
Future.
So, uh, so if you are aware of that, and it's good to be it's just good to be of that mindset and be consciously aware of what you're talking about, because if you find yourself plucking that lowest hanging fruits of conversation of past events, which is what happens, then yeah, you're not going to be improving your future. You're just going to be perpetuating any kind of whatever you just randomly talk about, and not choosing to step onto the narrow path in this life, which takes effort to continually stay on. Um, and so yeah, it not only in what you choose to eat, but it also is true in what you choose to talk about. And yeah, I see nothing but that. All these truther channels that are out there by the thousands, it's got to be something like 99% of the content is that weak-minded chit chat of the blah 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 of the historic things that have happened, and yeah, you're just wasting your time.
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
me and my sister, we've made some videos over the last couple months, and And we are trying to be addicted now to not doing that and focusing on solutions.
Once you
And
realize it, right? It's you start focusing on.
yep. Whatever your focus is on is
Yeah.
where your energy is going to go. So I want to encourage everyone that's hearing these words right now is, be conscious of what you're conscious of. And if you're thinking about the woes of the day, the flavor of the day, whatever the news is churning out,
Yeah.
uh just put it out of your mind. And actually, to refer to a movie truth drop, which I like to do. I am addicted to watching movies for truth drops. What
Nope.
well one
I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
nope, yeah, you go watch Nope.
That's actually the movie. Nope.
But there's this movie from maybe like 2017 or 18, Disney movie, probably the last Disney movie I have any respect for. Um, uh, Tomorrowland, yeah, Tomorrowland.
Oh
So
yeah, Tom Cruise.
in there is portrayed the archetype of like the anomaly, the infinite optimist, and that is me. That is me so much that I actually went over to LinkedIn and added the word optimist to my subtitle on my profile. So I'm like an infinite optimist. I mean, I don't
It's
care.
never ending. You're always optimistic. Do you ever have a moment that because you're not human then?
No, no, no. I'm I am
You know
I
you're
am
not,
I
right?
am infinitely optimist. I mean, I could be
So then you're
I
not
could be
human.
I could listen, I'm dead serious. I could be on a torture table, they could be pounding things underneath my nails, and I am infinitely positive and optimistic. I will
That's good.
there's
That's
there's
interesting.
nothing.
I mean, like
Yeah, yeah.
I mean,
I'm a
I like to think
I'm a
myself as
freak.
optimistic, but I know the human side of me sometimes is not.
Yeah. I'm a one in probably half a billion freak. Okay, nothing can get me
That's
down. I'm
crazy.
infinite optimist. If everyone I know dies, I'm an infinite optimist. I'm just thinking
Oh,
there
I could
must.
that way. Yes, I
I'm
know
just
how to get
thinking
through it. Right?
there must be a reason, or I'm yeah. Anyway. So
Yeah.
in that movie, the main character, that young girl, she's in class, and the teachers are all talking about how the Earth is gonna just not sustain humans for very much longer, all the stupid stuff. And and she's raising her hand and asking, well, what can we do to fix it? What can we do to fix it? And yeah, when I saw her, I'm like, yes, that's the solution
That,
to
now I
pretty
will say
much
on that account,
everyone. That's the solution to what everyone is talking about. Like, stop perpetuating the negativity.
now I agree. So optimistic on that level, yes. But when you have your child taken away, sometimes they can bring it. When you have that, there's certain things in life I think on a different level that have brought me to my knees. But
Yeah.
again, maybe I am optimistic on all accounts because I came back up stronger, more like
Yeah.
freaking a mountain lion, like you have no idea.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
So
my situation too, Lisa can tell you, I've
yeah,
been through
she's for sure.
so much negativity, so much abuse.
That's all she had.
But I talk about it because not in order to feed off the negative, but to give other people power to let them know that they can get past it, they can survive it,
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
know? So it's
Yeah.
like anything negative, I make it positive.
That's why
Yeah.
I started the channel because we have so many of our kind, and I don't even say our kind because I think we're all the same kind to some respect. But there's some that when they start showing these symptoms of Morgellons, then their mind is not understanding the in-depth nature of it on all levels and sides. They commit suicide. They die. Like so many, they give up and they're done. And it hurts my heart to see that. So a big portion, and Candy too, that we became big, strong voices and advocates We don't like what we see. We've had a hard time ourselves, but when we see the world going down in shambles and people giving up on hope, we're not going to stand by and watch it. Like, our
Yeah.
job is to make sure that they know there is hope. And
Yeah.
I swear, our way of thinking has so much effect on our outcome. You have no idea. I mean, it literally does. If, like Anthony said, if I cut two of your legs off, and I told you to run or whatever it was, like, would you walk or run, right? And it was an analogy he was using. I get that, and I just got to thinking the other way. I'm still running on the no legs that I don't have because I have the legs, and still in my head that's the way it is. But
But
I mean,
and
it's
then
just
too, we try to find ways to make this funny, make people laugh to change the mood.
it's
Like,
most important.
oh my
Yeah.
God, if you could hear our Wikimorpedia, you would just die.
Yes, I added a new
Hilarious.
one: delusional parasitosis.
It's hilarious, but when
Yeah.
Lisa does these little things with this little hand puppet that she has, it's like these little skits, with about the Morgellon stuff that crack you up laughing, and it's like, so yeah, we have to bring up the negative in order to change it into the positive.
It's
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
important. I
It's the
mean,
concept of keeping the light shined on whatever you need to, keep an eye on, or whatever, just if you, I'm definitely not one of these people that's gonna turn a blind eye to all the wrongs and refuse to talk about it. And I mean, certainly that is required. There's got to be a balance of both uh realizing what needs to be done, and
oh,
discussing it, and making sure that everyone's on the same page. But then of course just it's like in a business meeting. Okay, whenever I have a business meeting, there's a rule. There has to be an actionable takeaway. In other words, like, there has to be a reason for us
yeah,
taking our time to all talk about something in a meeting. If there's not an actionable takeaway, this meeting is over. It's just over. Everyone go back to your offices right now. So that's how I see the whole truther realm is. Yeah, we're all having a meeting. I mean, it's required to discuss stuff and discuss what's going on, but if there's no actionable takeaway to cause positive change, then what are you doing? All you're doing is having the meetings.
story of the world's lives right now. That's what they're doing, and everything. I don't know if you've watched some of the videos. I look around and I'm like, idle chatter, useless actions. Like, there is vacant eyes everywhere you look, and I know a lot of you have heard that in my videos. But I mean, it is, and it's useless. It's useless, and everyone's so programmed. I don't think they even know that they're doing it. Sadly.
Hey, to go back to what I was talking about before, I actually want to finish up the second half of what I was talking about with the Apollo 11 movie.
Yeah.
Um, so it was Houston, we have a problem. Okay. And then it's in 2017 summer, and I'm watching that movie clip over and over again. I download it. I watch clips from all different sources, and Tom Hanks is saying, "Houston, we've had a problem."
Hmm.
Now, today in 2023, it is back to Houston, we have a problem.
Are you kidding me?
I'm not kidding.
It's
So
back to that.
it's and so this is called a flip
Wow.
flop.
What
This
the
is
heck?
called a flip flop, and I hit the flip flop wall. I encountered this directly, and pretty much immediately it flopped back. So
I
he
mean,
so
I'm like, wow.
so let me explain this in more detail. So in 2017, when I encountered the then change of Houston, we've had a problem being in the movie. The movie clips YouTube channel, um, Apollo 11 clip for that scene was filled nothing but Mandela effect, blah blah blah. There was literally
Wow.
hundreds or thousands of Mandela effect comments. Okay, on this Apollo 11 clip on the Movie Clips YouTube channel. Okay, now
I'm
now
looking.
now a couple days after the Mandela effect, a couple days after it was now Houston we've had, I went back and because I couldn't believe it. I think I was maybe I was like telling someone else about it, and so I was hitting up YouTube
I
again,
think
and I
you
was gonna
told me about that.
and yeah, and this is so strange. It's even difficult to explain because an average mind cannot even entertain what I'm explaining right now. It's so it's like unhuman conceivable what happened. But
Yeah,
but
I
I'm telling
remember
you,
this
but
conversation.
I'm explaining this in such ludicrous slow detail because I want people to realize like it was Houston, we have a problem. And then for a period for me,
It changed.
for a couple days we've had a problem.
Couple of years it's been like that.
And get this. No, that's the point. It's no longer
No, it
that.
changed back though. I'm looking right now to see if I can find it.
Okay, no. Let me just talk. Okay.
Whoa.
Let me just talk.
I'm gonna need a
So
fork for this, guys. It's deep.
just okay, keep just listen. So when it flipped, the movie clips YouTube channel clip of that scene was hundreds of Mandela effect comments, okay? And then a couple days later, when I looked back, they had re-uploaded all of the Apollo 11 clips to
Wow.
to now be like new uploads on their channel.
Yes.
And now it was back to what it is today in 2023. It
Yeah.
it was changed back to Houston, we have a problem.
Hence flip
And
flopped.
it flip-flopped, and now of course there are zero comments talking about the Mandela effect
Yeah.
because we're back to what everyone knows it was.
So we like left one time frame and came back is what I feel like we did. Because when you told me the other night that, I was like, do you think that maybe we glitched?
Well, it's not just me. So these flip-flops are a less common thing mentioned in the Mandela effect topic, but the
Yeah.
people that talk about flip-flops, I have encountered probably three others that had the same thing. They encountered the Apollo 11, Houston, we've had a problem, and then within a couple days or a couple weeks or whatever, it's never a very big flop window. It was always just a couple weeks, I think, at the most. But everyone says the same thing, that it flipped back.
Wow.
And to add to this, I had a second effect that completely followed in the flip-flop. In other words, like on the same day as I noticed the Apollo 11 flip, there was another flip that also got flipped back at the same time. So I noticed that on the same day we were now Houston, we've had a problem. We were now in the Flintstones reality.
Oh,
And I was and this is another one for me that was big because of my spelling and phonetics mastery.
yes, that
and and
exactly.
and I was like showing my family and everyone like I know it was Flint because it's obvious, right? Flint is a kind of a stone.
Yep.
um and it just doesn't look right. It was completely wrong. I I watched that cartoon. I was eating the vitamins sometimes.
Oh, I still eat Fruity Pebbles. Come on now.
Fruity Pebbles was probably my favorite
It still is mine.
cereal growing up. You know, you get that nice like coating on the roof of your mouth.
Yeah,
You know, it's
still
all
there.
fatty and whatever.
Still
But
got it.
anyway, and in the exact same time frame that the Apollo 11 flip flop happened, the Flintstones went back, and in 2023 we are now Flintstones.
I didn't know that actually. I did
Yeah.
not know it changed to the different spelling. I had no idea.
And it's not just me saying this. There's many other videos out there
Wow.
that of people talking about specifically these two double changes. They changed and then they changed back.
And then changed back. They flip flopped. Wow.
So this whole Mandela effect thing is like as weird as you think it is. It's weirder.
That's crazy. That is like, I mean, it does get weirder, like for sure. I was looking to see if I could find that. But I mean, I know because him and I talked about this the other night, and it's a true story. And Candy, back to what you were saying about having to laugh, I actually found the other video when I was looking for the one of the Morgie and the Metaverse, or Morgie Delusional Humor. That's the one.
Yeah, that's funny.
Did you ever see that, Eric?
No, I don't know.
You gotta watch just a little part of it. Hold on a second. Let's see if I can share it here.
Okay. Put it in our Telegram.
What's that?
Put it in Telegram for me.
I will for sure. Hold on one sec though. Let me.
It's funny.
This was Morgie in the Metaverse one, but. I don't know how to make this full screen right.
What
Oh
on
my
God's
God.
green earth are you doing, Morgie? Oh my gosh! I'm in the metaverse, baby. Metaverse.
Yeah, I had one of those moments, but yeah.
You know that's not a VR headset, right? It's not
I
the
can't look
metaverse.
anymore.
Those are
I
sleep
can't
eyewear.
look. It's so funny. Oh my God.
You do understand that there's no one in that world with you, right, Morgie? I mean, you're in there like all by yourself. Number one, it's not a VR headset. Number two, you can't see crap because it's just sleep eyewear. And number three, nobody's gonna believe that. Wait, crap. That's what they tell me about Morgellons disease. Damn it.
Oh yeah,
Can you
yes.
read?
It's just one of the few that I done.
Oh, that's so
Wasn't the one I
good.
meant to put on though, Candy. I was looking for the other one,
Yeah.
the original one I did.
It's called delusional humor.
Okay, I didn't know you were talking about one of your videos, so this is awesome. Yeah.
Oh yeah, I gotta do a little bit of everything.
Oh my God. Your face is so good for that
I know.
filter.
I'm
You
like,
got these giant
and then
eyes.
someone actually commented. They said, "You made yourself a cartoon too." I'm like, it's a freaking app, but okay.
Yeah. I've seen
They
those
literally are like,
filter
how
apps.
did you do that?
Oh my God, that's hilarious.
Yeah, no,
I'm gonna
I
watch
mean,
that one
I guess
when we're
my
done
first
here.
one, yeah, actually, that's why Candy, like, you saw that and you're like, I gotta know this girl, right? She told me the story. I was like, really? She was like, I guess she saw it and she's like, okay, she's my kind of people.
Yeah.
You gotta go out, Lisa, later on and read my funny of the day today. It was so hilarious.
What? Oh, maybe
You know, I
can
got those. I post funny of the day, stupid things that happen, and they're kind of funny, but it's real life stuff.
I'll have to look for it here. But okay, I can't function, period. But I think we've been on here forever. Huh?
yeah, my bag's locking up too.
I
So I'm
bet.
like,
I know.
I'm getting-
And
I'm
Eric's
hurting.
sleeping. He's doing the stealth camping, right? Are you still?
Yeah. This is my second time doing this.
I love
He's
it.
in Jacksonville. He's not that far from me right now.
Yeah.
I literally love what he's doing, and I've done it many times, but I think the concept somehow managed to make his 6'4" body fit in his and it's not even a big car. You told me what it was.
It's a Hyundai Accent.
What's that?
It's an Accent.
Accent. I know. I'm like, it starts with an A. So yeah, I don't even know how you did it, but I mean, I've seen people take the back, compartment out to where they can.
Yeah.
I mean, 6'4". Come on.
Yeah,
That's awesome.
I took the back seats out, and I took the passenger seat out, and it just makes like a big, nice open area for me to store all my stuff right here, right next to me. And then the passenger seat being taken out is it makes it like extra flat back there. You know, the seats could come
Yeah,
down,
that's
they
cool.
tilt down, but then there's always it's on this big angle. And I never thought I'd be having fun doing this or even do this at all, because it seems kind of like
It is
hobo.
fun.
It kind of like, I feel like I'm being some kind of hobo, but
It's fun to be a hobo.
I actually love it. Yeah. And
Yeah.
so and of course it's, Richard Bruce's it's his whole jam. He's like
Yeah.
living in his cars for years, and so I'm watching him thinking like, wow,
Candy, I'm
actually,
sorry. You can
like
go.
actually that sounds kind of fun.
I love it. I totally love it. I've done it. And actually, I'm always looking for new ways. As a private investigator, though, you always have to be in stealth mode anyway in
Yeah.
order to not be obvious. Because, I mean, you'll have people come out of their homes that have nothing to do with it say, why are you here parked in front of my house? Blah, 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 right?
Like
Well, a
me,
lot of
crazy
times I
people
gotta-
that go out there with the gun.
Oh, I've had that many times, actually. That's not my first rodeo. But, I mean, I always have my badge up, too, when I can just kind of show it real quick. But long story short, you get really quick about understanding places that are safe and good to park and easy and how to blend. And I can totally rodeo right there. So,
Yeah.
but I mean, I have to hide out all the time. And I mean, sometimes I'm in a neighborhood for like 7-8 days, sometimes 2 weeks. So you get pretty good at picking and choosing what works and what doesn't through trial and error, of course, first, of all. But after that, I got pretty good at it. So anyway, all right, guys.
I'm signing out, guys.
All right, y'all have a good night, and thank you everyone for joining. And Richard Bruce, we are paging you. Richard Bruce, are you present? Calling Richard Bruce. All right,
Are you
guys.
there?
Y'all
Can
have
you
a
hear
great
me now?